I'm going to talk about multiculturalism today. I'm down in my basement here, so I can use my trusty old chalkboard that I got when I was 7 years old to show you guys some concepts. And let's start out. Well, there are two kinds of multicultural concepts today. There's the melting pot form of multiculturalism. This is the sort of American version of multiculturalism, the e pluribus unum concept. And with that, we have different cultures, like an Italian culture, an African culture, a Chinese culture. They all come to America. They melt together. They keep some of their cultural identity on top. So they add their richness to the culture. But at the bottom of it all, they're distinctly American. They have before they're any of those other things, they're an American first. So that is the kind of the good concept of multiculturalism. Now, there's a different concept out there called Mosaic form multiculturalism, and this is the predominant concept that we think of when we say the word multiculturalism today. And this is sort of promoted by our academic sphere, and I'm going to describe why I don't think it's a good idea. So let's go to the chalkboard here. So with Mosaic-style multiculturalism, we have multiple little states and multiple cultures in a single state. But now let's look at this before this all happens. So the chalkboard isn't so great here. We have one civilization, and we start out and we have one culture, and this culture has a set of values they want to promote. So we multiply that by, say, 100%. That's the efficiency of the culture in promoting their values. So they want to promote the free market, or they value space exploration, or something like that. They can then maximize their efforts to produce, to promote their values. So now let's say that we have another culture that comes in that doesn't want to integrate. Now this is the melting pot. They integrate. They keep some identity, but they integrate on top. But this is Mosaic style, so they don't want to integrate at the bottom. They don't want to share their American identity first. So we have 1 over, say, 0.2 cultures. I'm saying that because this may be a smaller group of people, so they represent a smaller component of culture. So they may not agree with everything that the first group does. They may agree on some things, but not on everything, and as a result, they kind of clash, and they create kind of they slow the progress down of the system, right? So maybe it's, 83% or something efficiency, and so forth. Now this is not really a problem, but then we got another culture, and this one's a little bit bigger in size, number of people, say 1 over 0.3. We add that in, keep adding this all in, and then we try and look at the effect of this overall on the whole system. So when we add, in calculus, we know this, when we add an infinitesimal, or an infinite number of infinitesimal parts, we call that an integral. So 1 over x, x being the number of cultures in the system, or this might be f of x, meaning, it's not going to be an exact function. There could be variance in how the cultures come in and what size they are and so forth. We integrate this, and we get the natural logarithm of x. Now, from a physics point of view, and I'm in physics, I'm going to bring this in here. We've seen this somewhere before, particularly in thermodynamics. So let me write this down here. K is just a constant, meaning however strong the society, or how much energy the system has in the first place compared to the number of molecules in it. And then N. Well, what is that? Anyone in physics know? Sorry. Well, that's the entropy of the system. Alright, the natural logarithm of the number of possible states, n, or the number of cultures, x, times k is equal to the entropy of the system. It's a measure of disorder or disorganization. So now, quite clearly here, we see that multiculturalism is actually a form of entropy. It's a direct mathematical form of entropy applied to culture rather than energy in a system. So now, obviously, that is by no means progressive in a progress sense. So if there's any goofballs out there who think that they're promoting multiculturalism on some fancy little concepts like postmodernism and values relativism, they're basically idiots, because in any promotion of entropy cannot be by definition called progress in any proper sense of the word. So if any of your goofball friends out there think this, tell them they're morons. Sorry about that. Anyway, how do you stop this? I have a couple of ideas. One of these is, you can get this from thermodynamics, it's called Maxwell's demon. The concept is, hold on here, you have a little box, and this is representing the civilization, and we have a little trap door on it. And we have a little guy up here. This is Maxwell's demon, and he's responsible for opening and closing the door constantly to prevent, particles that reduce the overall energy of the system from getting in. So you have, say, big arrows, and we have arrows that are kind of going in an opposite direction that might bounce in and cause, work at, adverse effects. They cancel out some of the energy of the system. Now, with this whole thing, the idea here is that when the energy that the particles that will contribute to the energy of the system come in, he'll open the trapdoor, let them in. You'll kind of build up the energy of the system on the inside. Now, when the other particles come in that may bounce in, they don't have the best interests of the society at large in mind, he'll close the door. And then the energy of the system, or the strength of the society, will just keep building up indefinitely. So, well, what is that? That directly corresponds to immigration policy. So, my suggestion to help get rid of this, and this is actually going to apply, some transhumanists out there might like this. We're going to promote extropy in society. Do it through immigration policy. Say that some people don't want to integrate properly into the American identity. We don't let them in. We already have this to a degree with, citizenship programs. Someone wants to become a citizen of the U.S. They, integrate classes. They integrate into our culture so they can respect our values and so forth. And then, of course, we have this other problem, though, with sort of academic goofballs who don't like that. Some of them actually, you've seen quotes of them not very much liking American values very much. So they come in and they will, work adversely to the system. Well, they're kind of like this little arrow here. So my suggestion is, if they're going to be like that, they have sort of subversive agendas, we have the little Maxwell's demon, and we shut the trap door on them. So that's one possible idea. Another idea I had is, this is already a problem in our society, because we have sort of colleges and schools promoting this silly nonsense, trying to, actively promoting Mosaic-style multiculturalism, which then, I just demonstrated how that's actually directly analogous to the entropy of a society. So how do we stop that? Well, one suggestion would be to promote sort of, programs that unify the country, counteract the Mosaic component, and get people to have like shared values instead of split off, separate identity values. So, an example of this would be to promote patriotism in all areas of society. I kind of think Irving Kristol was onto something here when he said that patriotism is a good value, and something to that effect, where it should be promoted in all areas of society. Well, maybe we can get the state to promote it. I don't know if it's possible with the way things are. I kind of like the way Japan did that actually a couple of years back. Shinzo Abe was kind of liked him. He passed a law making all the teachers over there promote patriotic values in Japanese schools, which kind of made them cringe, because the teachers union over there is kind of like the teachers union over here, filled with neo-Marxist douchebags and all that. Anyway, that's one idea. You might want to also promote, say, shared cultural values, shared maybe religious values and so forth. Anything that will unite the society. Get that to go, put that into a sort of a mimetic virus and then just promulgate it. And so that would hopefully counteract the sort of destructive entropic virus of Mosaic-style multiculturalism. So you have two clashing mimetic systems instead of just postmodern multiculturalism and political correctness sort of running rampant over society. So, well, that's my idea, or set of ideas. See you guys later.